We speak now to wildlife specialist JJ van Altena, who speaks to us on the level of this crime, particularly in South Africa. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. I was just listening fascinatedly just in terms of the various species of rhino and the ones that are most a danger. Is it because one species value in terms of the horns is higher than the other, or is it just a crime of opportunity where there is a greater population of a species in one area and this is why the numbers are the way they are?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening to everybody. Yeah, there's no one that seems more valuable than the other. I think just South Africa is nailed. As rhino population is being decimated at the moment, just purely because of our concentration and the high density of rhinos that we have. But pressures on our neighboring countries, Botswana and Namibia too, with increasing poaching there as well.
Right, so just tell us a little bit more about the work that you do and where you do it. I mean, as we saw in part of that seminar, some of the suggestions that were put up, particularly around crime task teams and involving communities to stem this practice. Can you share a little bit of insight on how this intersects with what you're doing?
Okay, so we're involved on a daily basis with rhino conservation throughout the African continent, from the breeding to translocation, the supply of various tracking and security and pharmaceutical solutions. So yeah, we're involved with a number of NGOs, governmental organizations, and private individuals.
Okay, and in what way? The projects that you undertake, can you expand a little bit more on that?
Well, it's a various things. You know, it's reserves or private reserves that are looking after or that have their rhinos on their property. They've got obviously security issues like that. We provide some solutions there in terms of tracking equipment for both the rhinos and for personnel, cameras, various initiatives there and various solutions there, as well as pharmaceutical solutions in terms of vaccines and things that help rhinos to save them certain diseases that they can contract in these type of confined environments. And then also the education on a daily basis with the people that we meet in the private sectors also.
I know Sandparks has a science lab of sorts that employs scientists to look at some of these things, including tracking the animals. Have there been new innovations that have emerged from research? And I'm not even just talking globally, but I mean locally, but globally as well, in order to protect the rhino population.
There's a number of initiatives, that are being implemented, and in terms of tracking solutions, rhinos are not the easiest animals to fit tracking solutions to, unfortunately. So it does. There are should I say, issues around the various types of technology that one can apply to rhinos. But there has been a lot of development there. And from foot collars to horn implants, satellite to VHF tracking. So there are a number, but, at the end of the day, they're only as effective as the people that are out there policing them. We're not the biggest fans of, people sort of get complacent once they've got a tracking unit on their rhino or way to see where their rhino are. But I always believe that it's better to have people out there on the ground tracking and observing the rhinos, and that's the only way you're really going to stop it. Otherwise, the tracking unit's just going to tell you where to find your dead rhino. You want to stop the rhino being killed in the first place. So all these things, there's no silver bullet. Everything's got to be, it's all part of the toolbox. And there's it's all various solutions, to come to the best option. Yeah.
And are there new methods that the poachers are using? Because I know sometimes it looks as if they're one step ahead of you. Try as you might, you find these terrible crimes littered around the areas where rhinos live, whether they're trapped or... And I mean, the pictures are just absolutely horrendous. So the kingpins behind it, I know there's syndicates. Unfortunately, some of them are within the communities that you're trying to rope in. Are they using new methods? How can you try and circumvent them?
Well, it's a lot more. It's a lot more involved than that. I mean, yes, there are people within the communities that, but also that within the law enforcement sectors, you're having people that are swaying onto the other side. I mean, that's been a big issue in Kruger and a number of reserves, that it's actually inside information that is leading to the majority of the poaching incidences. So it makes it incredibly difficult because you're never sure if the person next to you is on the right side of the fence. And, it's become such a sophisticated criminal network at the moment that, to stay at the top of it or stay with it is just incredibly difficult because they're evolving as they go along. I mean, if you look how the drug trade's evolved, guys still getting drugs into various countries to this very day after all the billions and billions of dollars that have been spent to stop it. It's just phenomenal. So it's changing and sophistication is changing every day. But I mean, the guys on the ground are unbelievably passionate and committed and making head ground. But I mean, we need to stop the demand on the other side, because while that demand is still there, we're going to be fighting a losing battle, so to speak.
And as you said, the demand on the other side, literally, because we understand that it's a transnational crime, that there are some countries who are actually driving up the demand because of the products that are used from rhino horns to claim that they achieve A, B, and C. So what can the global community do in tandem?
Well, I mean, I think there's an unbelievably big initiative at the moment from a number of NGOs, the Humane Society, Wildlife Aid. They're doing phenomenal work with educating, these Asian countries, Myan countries, China and Vietnam especially. They're doing incredible initiatives there. But it's a slow process, it doesn't happen overnight. You're talking about cultures and traditions that have spanned over centuries. So it's not going to change overnight, unfortunately, and we just hope that we have rhinos left, when we get to a point that, a difference is made.
Well, we appreciate you sharing those insights and taking the time to speak to us. Thank you very much. That is JJ van Altena, who is a wildlife specialist.